can't say I don't make good music. They can't say I'm ugly. You know, it's just certain things that they can't say, but then you can say, oh, well, where's he been? He was a one-hit wonder. Nah, actually, I had 2 hits. You know what I mean? Like,
if you don't want me to, 'cause I got a thing for you. I do anything for you, girl, anything, baby. Now stop and let me repay you for the week that you've been through. Working at 9 to 5 and staying cute like you do. Oh, oh. Now even though I try to play it off, I'm thinking about you all day long, and I can't wait for shawty to come through. From your lips and back up to your eyes, my hands on your hips when we grind. I'm fantasizing about what I'm gonna do to you.
growing up in DC, it was cool, you know. As you can see, I've been in Atlanta, so. But no, growing up in DC, for me, it was go-go. It was a lot of pressure for me, you know. Genuine and Maya and Martin Lawrence and Dave Chappelle. A lot of people came out of DC, so, you know, for me, it was like, this is what we were born for in this city, so. My mom, FindingJHoliday, she's a preacher and really, really hard on me, you know, as far as finishing school and staying out of the streets and be careful who your friends are and stuff like that. You know, those were the lessons that she stuck on me about, but it was also a curse because, I mean, you know, my dad dies at 11, then I'm going into my teenage years and it's like, what do I do? Who do I ask? You know, so then that's when I start going into the hanging out in the streets and, you know, dibbling, dabbling, sneaking around, you know, but it was always the fear of disappointing her that kept me closer to the straight path. The passing of my father, I've said that before, that it directly made me JHoliday. If he doesn't die, I'd follow a whole completely different path in life. I probably would have stayed a little closer to the cuff as far as home was concerned, you know, so. When people say everything happens for a reason, that's the only way that I could look at it, because for the longest time, I blamed him for all of my mom's struggles. When you have a parent that tells you he just didn't want to be here anymore, you know, he was tired, so he just went on ahead and crossed over. So for me, I just was like, how could you leave us like this? You know what I'm saying? So I was mad about that, and then as life goes on and I see, okay, I moved to this school and this is where I meet my singing group, and now I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing with my life. So yeah, if he was still here, yeah, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. I discovered I could sing, well, way when I was a kid. I was in chorus all through school, elementary, middle, high school, just trying to be like my sister. My sister was the singer, my older sister, Quinice. I didn't know that's what I wanted to do in my life at the time, but I knew it was a good way to get girls, so. Forestville High School was definitely the first time I performed and the crowd went crazy. And I think that was the exact moment when I knew that that was like, performing was my thing. I was in my singing group and we were winning all the talent shows, and I was like, yeah, man, we could do this. We could do this on a mainstream level. But then when I filled out my application for college and I applied to Morehouse, applied to Clark Atlanta, got into both. 2 weeks before school started, I was just like, yeah, I'm not ready and I don't think I want to go waste the money at school. You know, I felt like I had seen my mother struggle enough, and I didn't want to be the cause of any of that by coming to school and messing up. 2003, the group that I was in, 295, we pretty much packed everything up and moved to Atlanta. We had that dream of being the next big group. We was just watching all the groups, and we just thought it was just this: you get signed, you put the songs out, and you go live this magnificent life performing on stage. So that was the fantasy. We took all of the meetings that we could take. You know, we went to Atlantic, Warner, the So-So Defs, and the Bad Boys, and we kind of sat in front of everybody. That was like, got a group? Nope, don't want them. I sat them down, and I said, yo, I could do this last meeting with y'all. If we don't get it off of this, because by this time we had been together 5, 6 years. I was always told, man, look, all you gotta do is lead a group. I'm like, I'm not gonna be the guy that breaks up the group before we even get signed, you know? And I was so passionate that I'm on 80% of the records. When you in the booth and you singing your heart out, and you just see them out there playing PlayStation and talking to the girls, and you know, they're here, but I'm doing all the work. I just said, well, if I'm gonna do that again, I might as well just see what it feels like and see if I can make it happen on my own. After I left the group, there was a time where we were just going around trying to figure out what we were going to do. The guy that actually brought my group to Atlanta, Anthony T.A. Tate, we kind of split ways for a second, and I went and I signed with Show Enough, which is Jazzy's label that he had at the time. So the same people that signed me, pretty much, they discovered Sierra as well. I was trying to find it, but then Sierra popped off. And they was like, yep, Jay, you're gonna have to wait. You know, I was like, 6 months, all right, we can't do nothing in 6 months, then I'm gonna keep it moving. And that's when I got back with TA and finished out the demo that I was doing. We took it to Capitol Records in LA, and I left the group, and in 9 months I was signed. Back on My Lack was actually one of the songs. I had a 4-song demo. That was one of the songs that was on my demo. And the reason why Back on My Lack became like the stamp was that was my I'm About to Quit song. I went home to DC, and I was like, yo, man, I'm getting sick of it. I've just been down there for too long. I don't know what's going on. Because everybody I was seeing was just, they was thriving. Like, Sierra was moving, she was pushing, and just different people I was coming up around were just like, it feels like getting left, you know what I mean? And went home and I wrote Back on My Lack. And when we took that to Capitol Records, they was just like, well, what was this song about? And I was like, that was the song where I was literally about to give up.
New drop in the summer, put me over the weather when I'm under. Did you know you do that for me?
At the time, Rodney Jerkins was, oh, he got a song with Rodney Jerkins, so he must be somebody. Which, I mean, that it was technically a fact, you know? I think Be With Me was the tester. Let's see how much he can get done on his own. Let's see if he's a worker. Let's test him out.
Boy, you give it all away, baby.
JHoliday.
I just want you to hear what I'm saying.
Dog child.
So I think people were looking, and then Bad came, and there was just a lot going on at the label. I went through 4 to 5 different systems. Ronnie Johnson came in, who passed away, and he just came in and said, yo, what are y'all doing? Like, we got this guy right here, let's go get him a record. And he came down, listened to the record, wrote the check for the record same night, and everybody else say the rest is history. So, I mean, it was definitely Ronnie Johnson that played a very, very influential role in why the push between Be With Me looked different than the push from Bad, because it technically really was.
JHoliday.
I wouldn't necessarily call Bad a Hail Mary. I actually met Dream like a few years before we did Bad, while recording a different song that ended up on the album as well.
What do you like about JHoliday so much?
I've been working with JHoliday for a while now. Like even like 3 years ago, he used to be in the group. Very good kid. Very good kid. We just been grinding, you know, the same grind. And when it came down, actually even about the Bad record, when it came down to it, it's just more so I knew him. You know, he works in my same building. I knew him and I gave him the record.
Okay, very nice. There you go.
Dream wrote the record, as all writers and producers do. They, until the record is paid for, it's heard by different people. There's songs that are singles for people that you would have never known somebody else recorded it first.
Chris Brown wanted this song, right? Just for himself.
Yeah, Chris wanted this song.
He liked this song.
Yeah, he wanted the song.
But he didn't get the song.
No, he didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, what happened? Do you want to say it? Okay. We don't have to talk about it. It's a sensitive issue for you. It's all good.
Basically, he sent it to Chris's people, and Ronnie just happened to write the check first. And that's pretty much how it happened. Like, we don't know if Chris would have taken the record or not because we didn't give him a chance to. So it wasn't I stole anybody's record or anything like that. It was a little too slow in the draw, I guess. I don't know.
So then, no, but then Chris was saying something like, I don't know, Chris said something, right? What did he say about the song? That you needed me to be on that song? I need
Oh,
to be on
yeah, I
that.
heard about that. Yeah.
Said something like that, and then Dream says, I'll never work with Chris again.
Right.
And he bet that he didn't need Chris, and he bet somebody $500,000 that
it wouldn't go number one.
That it would go number one
Right.
without Chris. And it did go number one, so he collected his bet.
Good looking, Dream. We need to go spend some of that.
I can't say that it's true or if it's not true. If he made a bet that he could make the record win without Chris, but I mean, you know, in this industry, I don't put anything past anybody. So I mean, it's highly likely. I don't know. I just think the stars were aligned for me to have it.
I love it, you love it, you love it. Every time we touching.
It was a weird feeling though. You know, it changed my life. Bed definitely changed my life overnight. That's for sure. Like I say, even with Ronnie Johnson's passing away, it's like it happened almost recently after that. So it was like, did he come over here just to make that happen for me? You never know. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in it.
So, a few hard times in the past couple of weeks. How are you holding up?
I'm good. You know, just trying to keep my nose clean, stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Anything positive come out of the experience?
The publicity.
Any publicity is good publicity, right, Jay?
For sure. There's no
right.
such thing.
I think artists always get caught up in stuff they don't want to be in and conversations that they just don't care to have. Other people tried to say, Dream said he made my career, and I was just like, if he said it, he wrote the song, okay? Like, yes, he was part of what had to do with my career, you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean he made my career. Like, I'm the person on the record, I'm the one singing it, I'm the one performing it. So I think he was a little upset that I hadn't thanked him publicly for anything. But I know you, bro. Like, I've known you for years and years and years. I've never told anybody that, yeah, man, I wrote those records. Anytime, everybody knows that he wrote them because I make sure that they know he wrote them, you know? So I never understood that part, but, you know, Dream, man, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Not like, I mean, we good. You know what I'm saying? People gonna always try to bring you into something and start some kind of drama and whatever. I was happy to be an artist that was getting played in my hometown, and I'm on the Jay Leno show and stuff like that. I wasn't thinking about none of that stuff.
Now even though I try to play it off, I'm thinking about you all day long, and I can't wait for Shawty to come through.
The funny part about this story is I actually recorded Suffocate maybe 2 years before I did Bed, and I actually recorded Suffocate as a reference for Marion, and they just ended up not keeping it. And when we were going back around as a second single to Bed, then we were like, oh yeah, we still got Suffocate. For whatever reason, it was like straight to the roof, just like Bed. So.
Can't breathe. Oh, I can't breathe when you're touching me. When you're touching me. Away from me.
It wasn't really a strategic plan. I think it was, we need to finish this album. We don't want to really go back in and spend any more recording budget. What do we have? And Suffocate just happened to be in the vault. And we just took it out.
See what you know about the block after dark in the park. Holes in your shoes, making holes in your socks. Roaches in the kitchen with no food for your pots, or your hands on your head getting pressed by the cops.
Ghetto was my favorite song on Back of My Life. Not because I wrote it, but I often say I forget that there's people still living in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, with everything I've accomplished, I actually have to sometimes be back there to be like, yo, people are still living like this. You know, and it's my favorite because at any given moment I can listen to that song and it'll bring me back down to ground level, you know what I'm saying? So, and I was proud of myself for actually writing something like that, you know, to be able to put that on wax.
All she can do is pray. Where I'm from, this is life, same shit, different day. Yeah, yeah.
When I first heard I was nominated for the Grammy, I was shocked.
I feel good to be here, you know, like, who else can say they actually went to the Grammys and got nominated for something, so.
You know, you don't think about the awards until you start getting nominated for them. I was shocked, but happy all in the same time. I knew my peers were happy with what I did.
Look at you, dusting you off. You fresh out the Grammys too. How was your first time at the Grammys? How was that experience?
It was cool. You know, I had a lot of fun. You know, even though I didn't get the Grammy, congratulations to Mary J. You deserve it, babe.
It was a tough category that you were in.
Yeah.
But I know you shoot for the Grammys next year as well, right?
Always, you gotta shoot for all the awards. You know what I'm saying? Shoot for the stars.
Oh, Mr. R. Kelly. Yeah, the touring with him was great, man. He's a character, you know. And when I say character, I just mean he commands respect from everybody around him, you know. And sometimes it can be in a weird pushover kind of way, you know what I'm saying? He wants the people around him to just, you know, do whatever he say. But my team didn't let him treat me like that. So we commanded respect from him. So for me to be able to do that, and I'm on a new tour as a new artist, and it had nothing to do with me being, oh, I'm better than you, or it was just, I'm a man, you know, and we're men, we're here to work, and you just treat people a certain type of way. But the tour was amazing. And we had some little things that he would do to let me know, all right, man, this is my tour, you know that, right? But for the most part, man, it was a learning experience, you know. Every night we would go out in the crowd and watch his whole show.
It's the homie JHoliday, and this is right here. It's his first single off his second album, his sophomore album. It's called It's Yours. I love this record. Ladies, I know y'all love this record too.
So It's Yours. It was still trying to keep that sound, but let people know I could go a little more with the soulfulness. You know, I think I was trying to show people more soul in that sound, and within that sound. So that's definitely one of my favorites. I love doing that song. I love performing that song. I mean, because it's obviously a very visual and grab my body and, you know, that kind of thing. So I love that record. Round 2 was definitely the album I wanted it to be, and the reason why I didn't get any push because I started pushing. So they said, oh, you want to push? Then go ahead. We're not going to put anything behind it. At that time, I felt like it was just because they felt like I had been resistant to a lot of what they were trying to get me to do, so I guess they had just kind of pulled the plug by then. They didn't want the photo shoot for the album to happen. I had to come out of my pocket for a lot of that. And so I'm learning more of the business side versus just, oh, I want to say no to everything. Like, okay, I get it. I had 2 #1 songs. You guys are more worried about that than me. I'm just worried about getting to the next step, and you're making me get into the next step hard. I felt and I feel like labels don't take into consideration what you may be sacrificing to do what you're doing. You know, I've sacrificed a lot, so once I start feeling like you don't care about me as a person, I'm like a prison number basically, you know what I'm saying? That's just where it becomes, it's not fun anymore. Everything that all the artists are doing now, the R&B artists, I was doing that. I was dressing like that. I was talking like that and I was acting like that because that's who I was. That's where I came from. That's just how my city made me. I don't like dress clothes because I was raised in the church and I was forced to wear them all the time. That's the only reason. It's not that I don't look good in them. It's not none of that. It's just now I feel like you're forcing me again and I'm not a child anymore. They were always just trying to make me into this person that I just simply wasn't, you know, and you know, that's where a lot of the no's started coming in. At that time, I was probably one of the leading money makers, and I was like, well, I was ready for my next album, and I said, y'all not ready? Y'all gotta let me go. Ran back into L.A. Reid. L.A. Reid signed me to Def Jam, and soon after, he left for the TV show. So after sitting on Def Jam for about 2.5 years, I think it was, and getting my release papers, I was over just the whole label thing. I was just over it. When I was going into how I wanted to do my next album at that time, which ended up being Guilty Conscience, I just decided I didn't want to be signed artist anymore. I wanted to actually sign myself to myself. So the guy that brought me down with my group, Anthony T.A. Tate, at this point I'm still signed to him as far as production company. You know, so I'm signed to him through Capitol, through Def Jam. I think some things could have been different that you could have done. So now I need to take back my ownership as an artist. So I said, I don't mind doing the next album with you, but it's gonna be as a joint venture and not as an artist signed to you. It went over a lot better than I thought it would. Central South, which is, they're known predominantly for gospel, they were taking a chance on me at the time, being I was gonna be the first R&B artist that they put out with the distribution. They gave a certain amount of money that was supposed to be used for the album that just didn't get used for the album. Don't know what happened to it, but You know, after that, it's just like people are still doing this. It just made you want to be more independent. Like, I'm trying. Like, what else do I gotta do? Do I gotta start going in here like the rappers and, you know, starting fights in the office? Coming from the type of mom that I had, always trying to see the best in people, you know, so I tried to go about the situation like that. Like, I know this could go left or right. That's why I said I'm surprised it went over so well. But then that's because there was a ulterior motive that was in place. But Guilty Conscience came out in 2014. I had about 2 years where I just was like, you know what? I'm done. I quit. You know, I'm over it. I'm about to go get drunk, start cussing people out, doing whatever I want to do. And that's just pretty much how I coped with it, you know? And it wasn't like I was getting in fights and stuff, but, you know, it was just like, I don't care how anybody feels right now. It's about me. You could potentially lose friends and family and people that care about you like that. In my hiatus, I guess which people would call a break, I got a chance to sit back and observe what's been happening with the music industry. I didn't have any bad stuff to say about where we were going with music. You could tell the time spent and the attention was different. You know, you knew when people were putting their heart and their soul into me. Like, you could tell. You can just tell. And to get some of the comments that I get from my older peers, like Carl Thomas, Tank Joe, Johnny Gill, like just people that they respect my talent and my voice. I've done shows with them and they're like, bro, you be doing your thing. But I'm like, there's no reason why I should sound any different from the album, you know? And when that starts happening, then you know that the quality of what we're putting out is changing, and that's just because we're taking shortcuts. And I've just never been a shortcut taker, so for me, I was upset about the shortcuts, but not about the music. When people say, where have you been? I've been approached for different things. Most recently, I was approached to play Jamal Lyons in Empire, which I passed on, but I was basically talking about getting into TV and film. And I was like, if you come across any projects, just bring them to me. I'll let you know. So that, like, a week later, brought me the project and was like, well, I got something for you, but I don't know if you're gonna wanna do it. So then he told me what the premise of it was, and, you know, I got daughters, you know, and it's just some stuff I'm not gonna ever feel comfortable explaining to them, you know. And that's just not a way I wanted to be seen. I didn't want to be seen in that light by my daughters, you know, so. And I know Fox was gonna push the envelope, so I just left it alone. You know, I've gracefully passed on it, that's all. I started Holiday Music Group in late 2013. I needed my own thing. It wasn't gonna be Capitol, it wasn't gonna be Def Jam, it was gonna be Holiday Music Group. And we have experts in management, we have experts in production, we have, you know, just people that I deal with, you know, that are all essentially considered Holiday Music Group. So, like, we like to do good business, we like to make quality music and keep quality business relationships. So that's pretty much our motto, is just keep it right. That's it.
Girl, change into that Victoria's Secret thing that I like.
When I got the messages about my song being featured in the Yeezy show, which ended up not being my actual song, it was my song, but not my voice. I wasn't bothered, you know. It is what it is, you know. People do what they feel like they need to do for themselves at that time. So once I realized it was Dream's version, I didn't care, you know. It was just kind of, don't make this a spectacle and not contact me and you're using my version, you know. I would have preferred they use my version, but like, if they wanted me to be mad, I'm like, it's cool, man. Like, everybody knows whose song that is.
So apparently, man, the black men still losing to the women. I get it. No disrespect. I was raised by a woman. I have 2 older sisters, man. I have absolute all respect for black women. But with that being said, understand this, man. Black men, African-American men, men from the hood, we go through everything to make sure that who we care about are taken care of.
I've made the news for a few different reasons, but most recently it was probably my comments towards some select female artists and their music. And it wasn't anything to attack them specifically, because I mean, I didn't put their lyrics out. It was just to say that we don't have to continuously beat each other down within our lyrics. You know, that's the point I was trying to make.
And understand this, I got daughters, man. Cardi, Beyonce, SZA, all y'all motherfuckers, stop using that pain to make it okay to say some bullshit on your record and get nominated for a Grammy for going through some bullshit. Cause so have I.
Everybody thought I was just pointing the finger and saying, oh, their pain doesn't matter. It's not what I'm saying. We all go through pain. It's how you put it out there. I just feel like as a culture, you don't want to just demonize all the time. Eventually, it'll look like we're still an unorganized race of people, and we just don't get along. This is why they're single moms. And like, our music is what's telling the people that and what we're showing people, you know? So it's just, do we want to keep showing this for the culture? Or do we want to find more clever ways to say it? I've never been told to go to the left, but I'm pretty sure a lot of men have because of the song. And I'm pretty sure it started a lot of arguments. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just like, we don't have to keep doing that to our culture. That's all I was really saying. I feel like, let's make more happy stuff. You have these fandomoniums that are just, fans are fans. They crazy, they love who they love. Like, I have fans that'll go to bat for me just like their fans went to bat for them. Are we praising the people or are we praising the music? You know, it's because there's a fine line, and when you start praising people, these people start thinking that they're gods and they're up here, and it's like, we're all still human now. Let's be human. So I definitely think it has a lot to do with the names and a portion of how they reacted. But I don't think it was just because of that. I think people are always trying to find a reason to down somebody, and they can't say I don't make good music. They can't say I'm ugly. You know, it's just certain things that they can't say, but then you can say, oh, well, where's he been? He was a one-hit wonder. Nah, actually, I had 2 hits. You know, I mean, like do your math. Like, I'm okay. That's because that's what they remembered. So in their mind, they're like, oh, well, what is he doing? Taking care of his mom. Something a black man should do if he could do. You know what I mean? You know, being there for my daughters. I think people are disconnected with everything other than drama.
Donkey of the Day for Wednesday, January 24th goes to the artist formerly known as J.Holiday. The same complaints you have about these young ladies, you know, sexually explicit lyrics, people had those same complaints about Betch. So my brother, what the hell are you talking about? And let's be clear, you said pain wins, not talent. No, talent wins. And J.Holiday, you were not more talented than Mary J. Blige in '09. And I'm pretty sure you're not as talented as SZA and Beyonce now.
It kind of proved my point. He took the first chance he could to, what? Down a black man. I wasn't trying to down anybody. I was saying we could do better, is what I was saying. But then when he said something where he said, don't be on the sideline talking, get in the game. So I'm like, okay.
It's not about gender, sir. It's about greatness. And in '09, you was good, but you weren't great. It's simple. And if you were great, my brother, where you been? Last time you dropped an album was 2014, Guilty Conscience. I don't want to hear you yelling from the sidelines. If you think you still got some skills, get in the game.
You know what? You got a point. You know, and so that's where time comes from for the album name. And 25 to Life is kicking off of just how I'm feeling coming off of those comments and how they felt about what I said.
Don't complain, compete. Stop telling me about gender and black man versus black woman, talent versus pain. Man, those ladies are working and you are not. Simple and plain. Where you been? Last time you dropped an album in 2014, Guilty Conscience. I don't want to hear you yelling from the sidelines. If you think you still got some skills, get in the game.
The new album is called Time, consistent with 25 to Life, which is the lead single. Basically, time waits for no man, you know what I'm saying? I spent time away. Being in the industry is like doing time, you know? It's like being locked in a prison where you gotta kind of do what you gotta do. And 25 to Life just basically starts that off as if the relationship is music. And basically, I'm back to do that time. Just to be able to do what we've done with 25 to Life in a couple weeks has been pretty good, you know? Just to be coming off such a stint you know, I'm just happy to still be here, man.
Said I love it, you love it, you love it. Every time we touching, I want it.
At the end of the day, I'm beyond, you know, I'm beyond happy with where my career has gone thus far. Content, I wouldn't say content, but I'm proud of my accomplishments. Some people never make it to this point. So, you know, I'd rather have a time and a chance to have a comeback story than to not ever accomplish the first leg of it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy. I'm happy. My dream was to have one song on the radio. That was my total dream. I didn't have anything else past that. And so I'm beyond fulfilled, but I'm gonna keep going, you know? I'm gonna keep going.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Grab my body, baby. Hope my heart don't break it. It is yours. It is yours. It is yours. Yeah. And I can't never get enough.